just a small planet, like a speck of dust in regards to the universe. In fact, in reading this information, some information, it says space is unimaginably vast, with the observable universe spanning an astonishing 93 billion light years in diameter, 100 billion galaxies, each filled with billions of stars, and our human minds are physically wired to have a hard time conceptualizing these distances. Now imagine 93 billion light years, that's what we can see with the microscopes they have. The universe is far larger than that. Those 93 billion light years, as it mentioned here, one of those light years would take a spacecraft that we have, that humans have developed. It would take them 20,000 years to get across 1 light year. All civilizations, they all echo that there's a God. It's kind of like if you were to send a lot of people, let's say 40 people, in a forest over a period of time, and every time they came back, each one was saying they saw a bear. Now, each person had a different description of the bear, but they all claimed what? That they saw a bear. So when we go to the core of the story, it becomes evident that there's a bear in that forest. What the features and the descriptions of the bear, well, that's a matter of debate, but there is no debate that they saw a bear. This is what I call the core truth doctrine. That there may be various stories, but when we get to the core, we find a core truth. And this is what civilizations present to us, a core of truth. Even though there's a lot of different variations that they have, the core truth is that of God. Now, even with evolution, they have to admit that in order to deal with origin, you have to deal with the concept of infinity. A lot of them, when you ask them where did all of it come from, they will zero in on a big bang that happened as an explosion. I don't care how many explosions you may have, they will never present any order. And that is why when you see countries bombing other countries, it's complete devastation. There's no order. There's only decimation. And people are harmed. People, intelligence, skill has to get involved to build back up. Explosions never produce any order. But yet the evolutioner wants to make us look at some big bang and say, well, it all happened by an explosion and therefore we got all this order. Well, that's illogical. Neil deGrasse asked the question, where did God come from? Well, I can ask you, where did the Big Bang come from? Where's your answer? Eventually, and usually, they have no answer. They have to say, well, it was always there. Well, there you go. You have to come upon a reality that everyone has to understand, that when you're dealing with origin of life, you have to embrace the concept of infinity. And so in reality, to ask where God came from is illogical, because the one who put everything in order, who created this vast universe of only 93 billion light years that we can actually observe, had to not have a beginning. Along with the fascinating universe comes a more fascinating understanding of a creator, and that he had no beginning. And the Bible helps us to understand that concept, to help us to appreciate that from everlasting to everlasting you are God. When they reduce God to Jesus, they have no understanding of who they're dealing with. Jesus said there's no one good but God. And if we don't come to that understanding of that, who really God is, we're not going to understand who we're dealing with. We're dealing with someone who has always been. And then at a moment, he decided to create all things. And it didn't happen by what you hear some of these religious leaders say in 24 hours, 6 days. It didn't happen like that. The Bible never says that. But it happened in a period of time designated by God. It happened at a time, in a time period that God prescribed. And he was not in any rush. He owns time. Time is whatever he wants it to be. And right now, we live in a period of time that God dictates how long it will be, a seventh day that has not ended yet, that he will one day end. And it's not governed by any watch or calendar of humans. As Jesus says, no one knows the day or hour. It's dictated by God. So one day, this day will end. It began after God finished creating everything. And one day, just like the other days, it will end. So it's very important that we get to focus on not the creation, but the Creator. And as we do, we become to understand not just the fascination of this universe and everything that he's made, we become more fascinated with the one who made it.